All right, so this is just a quick Tid Bit Tuesday because a couple of weeks ago, Adrian did a rescue down here in the Eugene area, and he had more machines than he could handle. At the same time, I've been trying to get an offshoot of the group I go to in Portland going down here, so it seemed like the perfect match. So he brought by some machines. So let's take a look at that. Wow, that is a carload of stuff.
Yeah, pretty much couldn't fit any more into the car than what's in this car right now. I don't like to have it at the ceiling because I like to be able to see out the back. But yeah, there's a lot of machines in this car right now. It's completely chock full. The reason why I came to your house is I want to offload some of this stuff because it's going to be catch and release, meaning we're going to troubleshoot and then it goes back to people in the local community, because most of the stuff is things that I already have a lot of, but there are some gems in here, like an Apple IIgs upgrade kit for an Apple IIe. These are as rare as hen's teeth, and apparently this came from a school district. There were a couple of them, and I think David Murray, Ape Guy, got the other one. This all came from a local person, James, who's moving and needs to downsize. So I asked if I could come grab it. And then, as I said, we test stuff, and if it's good, it goes back into the community, the local retro groups here in the Pacific Northwest. And yeah, that's the whole point of this. But obviously the few gems that are in here, there's an Amiga 1200 that I don't have, and a couple other things that I would definitely love to keep. But the rest of everything else pretty much is probably going to go back to the local community.
Sounds great. I've been trying to start a meetup group.
Yeah,
these will make great prizes and
door prizes.
That's
right.
right.
Get a Commodore 64. There aren't that many 64s, if you can believe it. There's a bunch of boxes, but there's a whole bunch of 128s in here. Probably 7 or 8 of them, and also a bunch of Atari STs. So all in various states of working and not working. Yeah, lots of future work to be done, lots of videos. But it's pretty amazing, and yeah, it's the generosity of local folks up here are just incredible, and yeah, James is amazing.
So yeah, it's like amazing because this stuff is all catch and release. Meaning if I'm not going to use it myself in the shop here, then I have to give it away, and that sounds like a lot of fun. So these are going to be used as we get this group going for door prizes for the first few meetings. And then there's a whole bunch of boxes of odds and ends, just a whole mixture of stuff. And that'll be used either as door prizes or for the free table. Now, what we have here is 5 Commodore 128s, one of them in a serial matching box. Then there's a Commodore 64 in a box. I haven't checked to see if it's a serial match yet. And a floppy drive, and that floppy drive has a label on it that says it has Jiffy DOS. And then finally, between the two, I've got that Amiga 500. So let's dig into them and see what we got. Let me get them off the bench. This isn't the only one. There's a lot of them that have messed up keys. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to deal with that. I do have some spare keys from the Stone collection, but they are notably yellow. So, except for the gray ones, which are actually in pretty good shape. So for this one, we need an F1 key. And when these were dropped off, there were some keys in the bottom of the box when Adrian got back to his basement. So there are a few keys that he has for me at the next meetup. So hopefully I will get some there. I thought it was really nice of Adrian to bring this stuff by and help us get the group going down here. I'll put links in the description to any other videos from Adrian's channel about this rescue. SID sounds great. The control port in the 6526 showing as bad is because I don't have the keyboard adapter on it. So now let's shut it off and try it in 80 column mode. 80 columns looking good. Keyboard feels okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. F5 key was sticking. Oh, these keys are all sticking. I'm going to pull this apart and clean up the keyboard, and I will show you what it looks like when I get inside, but I'm going to stop the camera for the time being. All right, so when you last saw me, I said I'd just be right back because I was going to clean up this keyboard. It's been a day and a half, and it's been a rabbit hole from heck. So when we were looking at the machine, the function keys were sticking and it was having a lot of keyboard issues. So I went ahead and pulled it apart. I'm going to show you pictures here from as I was working on it. I took a lot of pictures with my phone. So pulled it apart. This thing was filthy. But also, I thought it was kind of interesting. I like it when a machine tells a story, but this particular story is one of frustration back in the day. So as you can see here, as I got in there, I found that the keyboard on one of the keys that sticks is all scratched up underneath from somebody digging in there to pop the key back up. And when I got it apart, the key stem was split so that it was fatter than it should be to go through the hole and it would stick. And in my experience, you do have that on the 128s, especially on the top row. And we had these keys that were bad that I removed from it. Some of them, like the one I have here, it's just got a couple cracks in it. And that's just enough that the diameter is bigger, so when it goes through the hole in the frame, it binds. Others, it gets so bad that then it breaks off and the key doesn't attach well. And these blue ones are the top row. So this machine had a lot of issues. It had a lot of broken stems in the top row, and it had a couple in the main keyboard. And these are the black ones, those are the blue ones. The white one, like this one here, is from a different type of keyboard, and they're a different length. So, in fact, I have, from the Stone collection, quite a few spare stems, but they're all the black and green, a couple of whites, got one blue left in there. And then also a whole bunch of keyboard parts. So you can see all kinds of springs, a few odds and ends of parts for the keyboards that just were in various bags and Carl Stone stuff. So between the two of those, you'd think I'd have enough parts, but no. I have had this keyboard apart 3, 4, 5 times, and every time I take it apart, I got to pull out all the tiny little screws. A couple of times I had soldered the keys back where the lock keys. So we've got the caps lock, the 4080, and the shift lock that are soldered on there. Definitely shouldn't have resoldered those back on, but at first I was thinking positive. It's fixed. The problem I'm having, and still having with this keyboard, is that some of the keys stick. This arrow key is really bad. And the problem is that I pull it apart, I put in a new stem that I've inspected and is in good shape, but when you push the key into it, it splits. So these stems are bad. I even sacrificed another machine, and before you go, oh my God, here's a picture of the machine. The top case is warped, and I don't have any spare top cases. So this machine seemed like a good machine to use for parts. I also have a couple machines that are almost hopeless as far as fixing the boards, and this machine's main board actually does fully work. So I have that to bring another machine to life. But where this is at right now, and I'm afraid it's where it's going to have to be, is that all of the regular keys work fine. The function keys that we're sticking are good. The F3 sticks a little, but not too bad. The keys that stick bad are the arrow key, which is also down here, and I don't know anybody who ever used these back in the day. And then the line feed key, which is really only used in terminal mode. So that's the way it's going to have to be. It's going to be a free machine to someone. If you got this machine, don't press that key. Don't press that key. And we can look at trying to find a way or get some replacement stems. But as it is with the materials I have on hand, this is it for now. However, the machine is fully working. If I turn it on, it gives a good screen. Everything looks good. I can type. So, you know, there's that. Let's give it a test. That last one's been doing good. It was on for the last 48 hours and it's still running fine. I don't have time to be spending so much time on each machine, so we're just going to take a look at the other 4 and see how they're doing, along with the Commodore 64 with its 1541 and the Amiga. So Commodore 128 number 2 is actually in a box, and I believe it's serial matching. All right. It is indeed a serial matching box. And the note says Commodore 128 number 2 works. So let's give it a test. Let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. All right, 6526, the keyboard and the control port. It's not actually bad. What's showing bad as before is because we don't have the keyboard adapter in there. So it works in 64 mode as well. Next, we have 128 number 3. Got a couple notes on it. And this one doesn't look good. In fact, it says it doesn't work. It's got a whole bunch of broken and missing keys. I know some of those I'm going to get when I go up north for the meetup. But let's see what we get on 80 column. Okay, that power switch is really sticky. And we are getting nothing at all. So it's not a black screen. We do have a video signal or the monitor wouldn't react, but nothing. And I'm not really surprised, honestly, because it doesn't have any screws in it. So pull that loose, lift that off. So, oh, come on. There we go. That was tight. So yeah, there's no missing chips. Everything's here. So here's where I'm at on this one, because I don't have the keys for it. I do have another working board I can put in here, but I would like to take the time to diagnose this and see what's wrong with it. And I've been working with my buddy Tom the last couple of days on printing stems, because on that last keyboard on number 1, I think it was, I sacrificed a machine that, was melted, so not really a sacrifice. But even onto that machine, the stems I pulled out kept cracking, so I need a replacement supply. I found an online model that seems really good. I mean, this one is beautiful, but it's too small. You put the calipers on it, and it's printing smaller for me for some reason than the model. But when you look at the model is much smaller than the original stem. So when you put the two together, it's just way too small. And Tom has been tweaking the model to try to get something that works better. And then I've been running into problems with my PLA being bad. So what the net result is we're still in the middle of this little bit of a rabbit hole trying to get better stems. There's one printing right now on the printer. If you can hear the printer going, it's printing the latest iteration. Actually, it's printing the same stem as this one, but it's printing it with some very different configuration settings using a 0.2 nozzle, which all of these were printed on. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this machine aside for a dedicated repair video. It will still be at some point a catch and release going to somebody in the local community. But in the meantime, that one's got to wait. I simply don't have the things I need to get it working. Okay. This is another one that has keyboard issues. 2 of the white stems and a green stem for the space bar. I think I can fix these, but let's see how it works and just see if it even powers up. So when you're plugging in the 40 column monitor cable, like in this case to the 1702, I always found it confusing because on some machines it's on the right and the serial's on the left. On the machines like this, the serial's on the right and that's on the left. And I was told a good rule of thumb to remember which side the video goes to is it's always on the same side as the RF modulator. I know the RF modulator is over here, so that goes on the left. And we've got some life. There we go. The space isn't even sticking, although if I push it, yep, it actually works. That's hilarious. So this one seems to be working. Let's hook up the harness and see where we're at. Again, we're going to show a 6526 is bad, control port, that kind of stuff, because we don't have the keyboard dongle in. And my keyboard dongle has a broken switch that I need to get a replacement for. And last but not least, we have 128 number 5. Last of the 128s anyway. The power LED is not properly aligned, but it's down in there. So yeah, 128 number 5. And it is testing. It says works sticky power. I'm headed to a meetup up in Portland this afternoon, and I leave in about 2 hours. And it's Monday. I would like to have this video out tomorrow for Tid Bit Tuesday. So I am going to get as much done as I can. This will probably come up sometime Tuesday afternoon. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the machines, and I'm really excited about the whole, getting a group going here in town and having machines for them to take with them. Awesome. So the SID sounded great. This machine seems to be working well. And that's fantastic. It seems like the bane of these machines is the keyboards. And that's not uncommon on the 128. But this is worse than I've run into in the past. I haven't done a bunch of flat 128s from the Stone collection yet. I think just one. And I didn't run into a lot of keyboard issues. I replaced a couple stems. But it wasn't like these where every time I put the keyboard back together and I would put keys back in, they were splitting the stems no matter how careful I was to insert the keys gently. I would get a couple that had the stems split again on me, and then the keys stick. So like here, these, yep, see that one's bad, the right arrow. And the keyboard seems all right. They're not sticking, any of them. Nope, that O key's a little, it feels like it just, I bet you this is either not got or it's got a broken stabilizer bar, because that's not really feel like it's sticking as opposed to just not properly stabilized. Other than that, though, these all feel good. Not having a perfect key here isn't too bad because, again, I don't know anybody who used these keys. I always use these. I was used to them from the 64, and this is just really awkward. So if somebody wants to fix that, I can help them. Once it goes to somebody, we'll get them some parts. In the meantime, let's wipe this thing down because it is ugly. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to continue this next week as well because it is almost the end of Tuesday for this Tid Bit Tuesday. I made it up to the meetup yesterday, and Adrian had the keys for me for the machines, but he put this box in my trunk and I didn't open it until a few minutes ago because I forgot it was in my trunk. This is more stuff from James, and as soon as I saw what was in here, I knew that I could not finish this tonight. It's going to be an interesting episode next week as well, where we will take a look at the Amiga, which I've already got cleaned up and checked out. Done some repairs on it. And then when I opened this up, I saw, this is what I was expecting. Keys. There's some keys for the machines. But also in here, nope, that's something he said I could have that he had taken the drive out of. It's a 1011, which I'd never used before. And I have a 1010 with a bad case, so I'm going to see if I can put it in there. But this GVP hard drive for the 500, along with its power supply. a Super RAM, which I actually may put on my 500 because one thing it doesn't have is any kind of RAM expansion. A power supply for the 500, which means now the one thing I am short for that machine is a mouse. Power supply for the GVP, and Tooth Invaders, Kickman, Music Composer, and Star Post. So Commodore 64 cartridges. So yeah, there's no way I can get all this stuff checked out and gone through tonight. It definitely increases the scope of the video, which should be fun. I've never messed with GVP. Back in the day, I had a buddy who worked at Supra, so we had all kinds of Supra stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and since I promised Amiga, and now it's not going to be until next week, check out these videos where I do some Amiga repairs. In the meantime, I'll see you next week, and also the Amiga 1000 64 Commodore episode is well into the editing process, so that's coming along nicely. Thanks for coming!